Ever since Luke and I got married, it's been like living separate lives. Then one day, he brought home a pregnant woman, and I came home with a 5-year-old boy. Look, this is my son who's been left out there. He's still so young. He can't be without his mom, I said, gently caressing the boy who looked so much like me. The look on the woman's face behind Luke went from innocent to frozen in an instant. Luke's expression went dark. I was just about to make some century-old delicacy of century egg and pork porridge for the son I'd brought from my twin sister when the doorbell rang. Holding a spatula and wearing an apron, I went to answer the door, grumbling, "Who in the world?" There stood Luke, looking disgusted, holding the hand of a woman with perfect skin and a noticeable baby bump. Her eyes were filled with disdain and smugness. I took a deep breath and managed to get out, "Damn." Luke's tone was icy. "Emma, mind your language." I pointed at her, feigning ignorance. "What's her story?" Luke lowered his gaze and said calmly, "She's pregnant. That's my baby. I can't let them suffer." I almost laughed out of sheer frustration. I used to love him so much. Now, I hated him just as deeply. I hated his youthful devotion, his sweet promises of, "I'll never let you down," and how he shattered all that into pieces years later. I remember one time he came home with lipstick marks all over his collar. He wasn't even trying to hide it anymore. I confronted him, my voice hoarse and pleading. He adjusted his tie and said, "Emma, can you not be so unreasonable? Men need to entertain clients. You don't have to be a good wife, but don't make things worse. Look at you. Where's your grace?" Later, when I went to pick him up from a private room, I saw him with a young, beautiful girl. The same tender, loving look I thought was exclusively mine was now being shared. "Emma, let's each have our own fun. You can have as many male models as you want. Do whatever you like. I won't interfere. But you also don't get to meddle with me. Rest assured, you're my only wife. I won't bring mistresses home or let them shake your position." And now, with his lofty words of, "She's pregnant. I don't want them to suffer," he presented them to me. Men's words are often lies. I thought my heart would still ache, considering how much I once loved him. But now, to my surprise, I felt calm. I saw the woman softly say, "I'm sorry, Luke didn't want this either. But a child needs a father. Emma, you're so generous. You wouldn't possibly mind me and the baby, right? Luke and I truly love each other." As she spoke, tears began to fall. Such a delicate, innocent act. Luke seemed to eat it up. His gaze turned cold as he warned me, "Emma, whether you accept it or not, Camilla is a kind girl. Don't think about bullying her." I muttered under my breath, "Are you out of your mind?" "Mom." A soft, innocent voice came from behind the sofa. A cute, handsome boy peeked out. He looked so much like me. At that moment, I realized I might have forgotten something important. All my sadness vanished as I rushed into the kitchen. Damn it, my porridge. But it was too late. The porridge was burnt beyond salvage. Just then, I felt a gentle tug on my fingers. "Mom, it's okay. I'm not hungry," the little boy said, looking up at me with big, watery eyes. His sweet face, red lips, and tiny hand holding mine made my heart melt. I knelt down and planted a kiss on his cheek. "No one goes hungry, especially not my little angel. Mom will make more. My century egg and pork porridge is the best." I pushed Luke and Camilla out of my mind. Right now, all I could focus on was my adorable son. Luke had a sinking feeling. After 9 years of marriage, didn't he know whether I had been pregnant? Luke's voice trembled as he asked, "Emma, who is he?" I looked at them, lounging in my disinterest. "Luke, this is my son. You see, he's still a puppy. He can't be without his mom." The woman behind Luke looked horrified. Luke's face turned furious. He roared, "Emma." His eyes were bloodshot, and he was radiating anger, as if it was unacceptable for him to see me with someone else after all his own escapades. The little boy pouted and furrowed his brow. "Uncle, you're so mean." Then he gave me a sweet smile, opened his arms, and hugged me. Unlike me, who just wants to make sure mommy's okay. My heart skipped a beat, then raced like a drum. So cute. How could a puppy be this adorable? I wanted to squeeze him, I controlled my impulse, knowing there were still two jerks to deal with. I covered the boy's ears gently and looked at Luke with a smirk. What's with the anger? Isn't this what you wanted? No interference? Luke's temples were throbbing, his teeth grinding as he tried to contain his fury. He glared at me, his voice burning with rage. You can do whatever you want, but who the hell gave you the right to have another man's child? So, Luke, you get to knock someone up and bring them here, but I can't have a child from another man? You think you have the right to say that? I smirked. Luke, don't be such a hypocrite. Luke was breathing heavily, then seemed to have a realization, sneering, Emma, you're not jealous, are you? Trying to trick me with some kid from your relatives? Nice try, but I'm not falling for it. I couldn't understand how the once charming, clean-cut young man had turned into this heartless, greasy excuse for a man. Was I blinded by love, or was I just naive? He ordered me from his high ground, Emma, get rid of this little fool right now, or I won't let this slide. Slap. I slapped my stinging hand in front of his shocked face. I didn't want to be violent in front of the kid, but hearing little fool was the last straw. Luke, Camilla cried, glaring at me. Emma, how can you treat Luke like this? Slap. I slapped Camilla across the face, just as Luke was watching. Camilla was stunned. How dare you hit me? She tried to retaliate recklessly. I calmly lifted my foot. What? Don't you want your baby? Camilla instinctively protected her belly, looking at Luke for help. Emma, you two can leave now. I was done with their performance, looking coldly at Luke. You cheated. I had my fling. You're having your baby, and I've got mine. We're even. I pulled out the paternity test and threw it at his face, making sure he knew I wasn't joking. I sneered, he's my son, and I'm his biological mother. The reports supports that Emma is Lobo's biological mother, stung Luke's eyes. Seen enough? Now get out, and don't waste my time with my son's porridge. Luke stayed silent, staring at me, searching for traces of the love or anger I once had for him. He seemed to want to find some sign that I still cared. But this time he failed. I'd smashed kitchenware, cried, and even cursed him before. But with love gone and only bitterness left, I was done. I didn't understand why two people who once loved each other deeply ended up like this. I used to be confused, but now I was too exhausted to care. I'd tried to keep the flames of love alive, but he had extinguished them one by one. In the end, I had to put it out myself. Even though it was painful, even though it bled, all that remained was a cold, dead calm. Luke stared at me, his voice breaking. Emma, are you serious? He suddenly exploded with rage, not caring that Camilla and Lobo were present, gripping my wrist so tightly it felt like he was trying to crush it. His face was stormy and dangerous. Who gave you the right to be serious? Camilla looked terrified, glancing between us. I was furious too. With my free hand, I didn't hesitate to slap him across the face. Are you out of your mind? I yanked my hand away, rubbing the red mark, angry and a little scornful. Who gave you the right? I did. Who do you think you are? A stinking pile of trash, thinking you're some kind of tragic lover from a novel? Pfft. You're disgusting. I yelled, outraged. Luke glared at me for a moment before dragging Camilla out of the kitchen. I watched them go with indifference. Mom. The boy gently tugged at my sleeve. It's okay. I stroked his head. The little boy shook his head and said softly, I wasn't scared at all, Mommy. You're so cool. I chuckled and went back to cooking. After the porridge was ready, I watched as he devoured it with gusto and reminded him gently, slow down, don't rush. This is so yummy, Mommy, he said, his face showing that he was thoroughly enjoying it. I found myself momentarily lost in thought. It's almost ironic. I used to only know how to make instant noodles, and this cooking skill was developed just for Luke. I was truly blinded by love back then, always believing that love could conquer all. It turned out to be just my own delusion. Shaking off the muddled thoughts, I finally asked the little boy, Lobo, who is your biological father? To be continued. 500 likes and I'll drop the next chapter ASAP.
To be continued. 500 likes and I'll drop the next chapter as soon as possible.